America great again. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
In the far distant land of common sense, a place where we all once lived, you'll find the Conservative College with Professor Toto. It is here where the foundational principles of our great republic are still taught and true patriots are still educated in the hallowed halls of this school of hope. Just like the iconic puppy from The Wizard of Oz, who found great joy in pulling back the curtain on the lies of the wizard, so does Professor Toto. Grab your seats and welcome to the Conservative College. Class begins now.
Well, hello, America. Hello. Wake up wherever you are. The bell of freedom has rang. Good evening. How are you? Well, here we are. It's been a long time since I've seen your faces. Wow, it seems like it's been forever, does it not? Hello, it's Professor Toto, and I'm back. 3 classes I've missed. I was afraid y'all were going to fire me. I'm so glad to be back tonight. It's been 3 classes. Someone sent me an email today and said 3 weeks. No, 3 classes. Welcome back, everybody. Grab your bean bag. Go ahead. Grab your bean bag and show your Toto passport to get admittance into the Conservative College. The class is open. The college is open, and you are a welcome guest or student, rather, here tonight. I am loaded with stuff to talk about tonight. I don't even know where to begin. But I would like to say hello to a few of you before we get started. Hello, Minister Lawless, Lisa Schumer, Jeffrey Dube from Kentucky, Malpana Adam Wingo, Sister Justina Morgan, Kelly Gale, Brandy Wingler, so good to see you, Luis Perez, Buddy Weiser, Jean M., Risings, Lynn 4858, Danny Praise. My video is jacked. They said, okay, the video is jacked. Well, my bandwidth is a little weak tonight. I don't know why. You know what? I might know why. Hang tight. Let me try something. Let's try that. I reduced it from 1080 to 720. Let's see if that starts coming through better. Hello, Texas, Diana Howard. Hello, Carolyn Bollinger and Eric J. Sandra Savignon. Maureen LaQuire from Michigan. Hello. And Lori Glenn from California. Malpana says, I'm still fuzzy. Well, it's blurry. Well, what am I supposed to do? Says it's still blurry. Let's try something. I tell you what, I'll be right back. Let me try something. And now you're forced to sit through a commercial. It's your fault. You told me I was blurry. I'm going to try to fix it. I'll be right back.
The volatility of the U.S. dollar is a harsh reality. We've seen the stock market come across ramped losses, even over the past 20 years. There's a need for an alternate financial strategy. How about gold or silver? Welcome to God's Money. With the PSI Security Platform, you can build your wealth and secure your future with precious metals that withstand the test of time. Gold and silver are the secrets the wealthy have used to accumulate and protect their wealth for decades. God's Money works with a team of world-class experts to deliver rare, high-quality, unique precious metals at impressive prices. Don't have the money to invest in silver and gold? No problem. Join our Coin of the Month program. With this amazing program, we will send you a little silver on a monthly basis. Consider this opportunity before it's too late. Act now. Go to www.godsmoney.info.
Well, I restarted the camera. I don't know if that did the trick or not. I hope it did. But if not, I don't know what else to do. We have so many watching. Maybe it has to do with that. Right now on Roku, we have almost 10,000 watching. And by the way, Rumble, I need you guys to get the word out that I'm back. So I need y'all to share. Facebook, I need you to share right now. Let's see. Is it any better? Any better? Any better? Yes, it is okay. It's okay. Okay. Nope, still blurry. Oh, well, I don't know what to do, folks. I don't know what to do. I'm not a technical expert. If I end the stream, it's going to reset everything and I won't be able to come back. Anyway, everybody says they know what I look like. So anyway, I'm going to try. All right. I'm sorry. Hopefully it will, you know what? Hang tight. Okay. That's not the problem. I thought I might have found the problem. But anyway, I'm going to teach tonight. We're going to talk about a lot. We are going to, someone said my face is pink. Well, glory. I tell you what, nothing like being gone for a while to get out of the groove of things, huh? Let's see. The face is pink. Let's see if we can get some pink out of the face. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, I'm done. I don't know what else to do. Guys, here's where we've been, just so you know. And by the way, I warned you all 2 weeks ago that I would be gone for a week because of Holy Week, our church. And I am so happy to announce that we had the largest crowd we've ever had in history. They came all the way from Scotland, across the nation, from California, Michigan. They came from everywhere. And we had a marvelous week. Our lives are transformed. We are forever changed. And now we are busy getting ready for our next feast, which is June the 2nd, the feast of Shavuot or Pentecost. So going to be another big weekend in June, but I should not have to miss any classes for that. So that's the good news. The only other time this year when I will be gone that long of a period is in October for Toto's retreat. You know, the one that all of our friends and followers come to in Alabama, October the 2nd through the 6th. If you're not registered, you can go register now at www.registerfortabernacles.com. So, oh, thank you, Jean Garrett. Well, I love your cousin Janice Hardy as well. So anyway, anyhow, we've had some bad storms here, guys. And yesterday we've had tornadoes here. So that may be the problem tonight. If it's too distracting, I can always wait till Thursday night. But if you can get past the video, we will do a class tonight. I was also, after our Holy Day retreat, we went to Texas, or no, we started going to Texas to see the eclipse. And man, what an experience that was. It's one I'll never forget. I'll be 70 years old before that eclipse returns, but my eclipse did not look like everybody else's. Here's what mine looked like. And that's exactly what it looked like in my glasses. I tell you, it was an amazing experience. Man, I thank God that I was able to go. We brought a whole church bus full of our people. And Svetlana Gorka, I do not abandon Patriots. I love this republic with all my heart. I love this republic so much that I come to this mic free of charge, never asking for subscriptions or anything. Always here. For 3 years, I was here almost every night, and I still come. But there is something more important to me than even patriotism. And it is my religious experience, my walk with God, Yahweh. And I will always put him first, even before my country. So as long as we're clear on that, I only take off twice a year for Passover and Tabernacles. So I do pray for your understanding, but I do try to be here every other time unless I'm sick or unless I just cannot be here for some unforeseen reason. Well, let's see. Tonight, what are we talking about tonight? So much to talk about. We're going to cover some important things that we need to catch up on, some things that I wanted to talk about while I was gone. I just absolutely love this new commercial put out by the Trump campaign. I wanted to share that with you before we start tonight.
Money can buy you almost anything. It can't buy you immortality. That you have to earn. I'm gonna look you in the eyes and I'm gonna tell you the future. It's an American story, And that's why Americans are gonna love it. People are gonna build you up. God, are they going to? Because when you're great and new, we love you. Man, we'll build you into something that doesn't even exist. You're gonna change the fucking world. But you know what? Once they've built you as high as they possibly can, they're gonna tear you back down. It's the most predictable pattern. We build you into something that doesn't exist, and that means you have to try to be that thing. All day, every day. That's how it works. And we do it again, and again, and again. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. You're gonna be attacked, betrayed, exposed, and humiliated. And you'll survive that. A lot of people can climb that mountain. It's the way down that breaks them. Because that's the moment when you are truly alone. And what will you do then? Can you summon the will to fight on through all the pain and rise again? That will be the defining question of your life. And I think you already know the answer. And that's why we're all here. A shoe is just a shoe. Until somebody steps into it, then it has meaning. The rest of us just want a chance to touch that greatness. And we need you in these shoes, not so you have meaning in your life, but so that we have meaning in ours. Everyone will be forgotten as soon as our time here is up. Except for you. You're gonna be remembered forever. Because some things are eternal. And your story is gonna make us fight and never give up.
Wow. First of all, I was totally unaware there was a curse word in that commercial. I cannot imagine why they would ruin an amazing commercial with a curse word. Please forgive me for letting that go across the air. But my God, what a commercial. How we built up a man, and it's really true, even on the Patriots side. We build up a man, and then we start tearing him down. And then it proves if he's really the man that God's called him to be, when he can stand being forsaken on both sides. That was such a powerful commercial, because indeed Donald Trump has stood that test. And he reminded me a lot of myself. It was what I've gone through here at our ministry. And boy, that commercial touched me. But I thought I don't know if there was a curse word. Maybe I didn't hear that, but I thought I did. Here's what I need you to do tonight. I am about to do something that I've never really had to do before. And if you're one of our haters, you may want to call your hater friends and tell them to watch real quick, because I'm going to do something that I've never done before on this show. I'm about to issue a public apology to the world. I've never had to do this before, because I've always pretty much been able to control what I say here on the Toto show. So go ahead, call your hater friends and tell them, quick, turn me on, because I'm going to make a public apology tonight before I go any further in tonight's class. Professor Toto is my, Pastor Shane Vaughn's, alter ego. That is a comedic character, comedy. Professor Toto is satirical and comical. Professor Toto is a character created for the sole purpose of political satire. Normally, my audience will give me a great license for Professor Toto to say whatever silly stuff comes out of my mouth, because there's one thing about being live. There's no edit button. When something comes out of your mouth live, it's recorded and there is no taking it back. Many times when I'm live being funny about the news of the day, like I'll do tonight as soon as the show really gets started, many times you're in the moment and you're having to say something. You're pulling stuff out of every side of your brain to keep the show funny, to keep people engaged, and to get your point across comically. Well, even with comedy, there is a line that you do not cross. And I crossed that line about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, on one of my shows. And there is no excuse for what I said that night. And I am making a public apology to all of my audience, my followers, my haters, and to the whole world. Anyone that heard what I said, it was something Pastor Vaughn would have never have said, but even Professor Toto should not have said it. I'm referring to a show. I told my wife night before last, I said, honey, I've got to make a public apology. And she said, I know exactly what you're talking about. She remembered the show. It was a show about Judge Ketanji on the Supreme Court, an African-American lady. Judge Ketanji made the stupidest, most jungle, monkey, idiotic, horrible, jungle animal statement, wild statement I've ever heard for a judge. She said that our freedom of speech puts a great hindrance upon the federal government. And she basically was attacking free speech. Okay? Well, I was attacking her for such stupidity. I still think she's the most stupid judge I've ever heard, so I don't take that part back. Her name is Ketanji, I believe. I don't have it in front of me, not trying to be disrespectful. But I always do a word play on people's names, and I called her Judge Jumanji. Well, you know that Jumanji has to do with the jungle. So my brain is going 90 miles an hour, and I'm trying to pull my thoughts out as quick as I can. Anything to do with the jungle, Judge Jumanji talking mucky sense, not making sense. And when I was doing it, I spoke and put a picture up of her, and I made a personal reference, and I said, monkey talk coming out of monkey lips, and I had a picture of her on the screen when I said it. Completely unacceptable. And I want to thank, when anyone that knows me personally knows there's not a racist bone in my body, but a lot of people don't know me personally, do they? So they go by what I say. And if you're just going by what I said that night, you have every right to be offended. That was unacceptable. And I'm asking every one of you to forgive me if you can find it in your heart to do so. And thank you for letting me learn from this experience. And I will learn from this experience. I will try to be more careful with my speech. And there's no excuse. I'm not going to try to excuse anything. But I do regret those words, and I will be much more careful in the future. I want to thank my haters on YouTube, Owen, Fireside Chat, others that we, I think they have a secret crush on me. But I want to thank them for calling me out on that. I deserved it. I should have been called out on that. And I always listen to my enemies, because enemies many times will tell you what you need to hear. And so I appreciate them for calling me out. And again, I apologize. So I still think she's a dummy. I still think she talks monkey talk. I still think that she's ignorant, dumb, and should not be wearing a robe and should be living in the jungle as Judge Jumanji. Okay? but her physical appearance off limits. All right. Thank you. Thank you for listening. I just had to get that out of the way and off of my conscience. All right. Tonight, we're going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is basically fake. Everything's fake about it. And I want to show you tonight, I want to start off showing you a demonstration of how artificial intelligence is literally taking over our world, okay? We're going to start with the mainstream media. I'm going to show you their artificial intelligence.
Well, I'm excited because if you compare Joe Biden's presidency to Donald Trump's presidency, you have a clear contrast. While millions of jobs were lost under Donald Trump, you've had Joe Biden be the best job-producing president we've had. Joe Biden inherited this crisis where Donald Trump was telling us to inject ourselves with bleach. Biden got us through that crisis, and now, after the whole world really suffering from a tough economy, our economy is showing signs of strength that are the envy of the world around. We see manufacturing coming back in our economy. We see investments in everything from infrastructure all the way from the environment, historic investments. And I just sat with some business leaders in the tech sector and saying that Chips and Science Act that we did is going to pay dividends for generations to come. He's got a story to tell. And even on the toughest issues, the Republicans have shown that they're about chaos and conflict and not about solving problems. And this is a tough time to lead. But President Biden on the world stage right now has stepped up in ways that have earned him the respect of our allies and peers all across the globe.
We always talk about trend lines. And lines are all breaking Joe Biden's way. I mean, if you look at the top of Drudge, if you're Trump, you probably would jump off the Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, because he's like MAGA meltdown and talked about all the polls breaking in Joe Biden's way. But they are. I mean, the trend lines are pretty strong for Biden coming out of still coming out of the State of the Union.
But really, the more Donald Trump is out there, the more he's railing, the more he's in a courtroom, the more you saw it in this number about the hush money trial, which is also an election interference trial, the more the public sees of Donald Trump, the Biden campaign hopes, the less it wants to see him back in the White House.
Yeah, and something in that poll just is something that I just want to reiterate for people out there who say to me, this hush money thing, it's good for Donald Trump. It makes him look like the victim. No, seeing him sit in a courtroom every day and seeing him every day in the news and hearing is not helping him. I could never understand that logic, how somebody who is under indictment for a felony charge and is about to face trial, somehow that's good for them. So it's not, and the numbers show that. And if you look at, and by the way, in this trial, he will be convicted. I don't think there's any question about it.
Well, Americans have a tendency to romanticize the recent past. And so I think now that they're seeing more of Donald Trump, and in this case from the Biden campaign, they're remembering just how awful that presidency was.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, they're remembering
the latest craze, right?
Just how awful that presidency was. That's what they're remembering. They're all remembering how horrible that presidency was. That's artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, what you just listened to was artificial intelligence. I want you to listen to the rest of this artificial intelligence, and then I'm going to come back and show you what's called authentic intelligence. It's still AI, artificial, authentic. But keep watching. Oh, and by the way, speaking of artificial intelligence, this came across my news feed today on Facebook. Talk about artificial intelligence. Netflix has a new movie out. I kid you not. I kid you not. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. How's your mama now? Mm-hmm. Huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You heard me? All right. George Washington. Who knew? Who knew? My God, let's just turn every truth into a lie and every lie into truth. Why don't we just fiddle faddle the whole thing and look at some more of this artificial intelligence?
Trump is running as an autocrat, full stop.
Yes, he's going to be a full autocrat, full dictator. Absolutely. He's coming. Yes.
The commander-in-chief has the final say. There's a risk that there will be orders issued that really fly in the face of that traditional independence, that take the military into areas that they have traditionally avoided, domestic affairs, law enforcement, and the policing.
Yes, Donald Trump's coming down Main Street with the military. Get ready.
Mass protests or even the conduct of elections. That is frightening. That does start to turn us into more of an autocratic military run society. And that is truly frightening.
So frightening.
Somewhere deep down, he is just a scared 77-year-old man. Toughest guy I've ever met, notwithstanding. He's also someone that has watched a whole bunch of people in his orbit.
You need to straighten your knot up, son. I'll show you how to wear one.
Go to actual prison or jail.
I don't think it's hyperbolic to say this.
It's not hyperbolic at all to say what you're about to say, dimwit.
Genuinely could be the last Democratic election we ever have.
Oh, God, it could be. Reckon it could be the last Democratic election we ever did have. But it's not no, it's not hyperbole. It's not hyperbolic. No, it's just hyper dumb.
You're right. Listen to what he says. He's telling you.
I wish you would.
Dictators aren't a dictator for one day. And
that's right. He's only going to be a dictator for one day. Thank God he's not going to do it for 2 days. Miss Hyperbole Queen.
And it's let the people decide.
Yes.
No, and
we did.
I'm going to tell you, as vice president, I've now
as vice resident
met with over 150 world leaders. Presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. World leaders have come up to me expressing their real concern.
In the second term, he won't be talked out of it. So what do I mean by a different type of government? I want you to imagine for a second, Willie, if you called 911 and
now listen to this fruitcake. Listen to this fruitcake. And I will never make a public apology for calling him a fruitcake, because he is.
Instead of them saying, "What's your emergency?" they said, "Willie, did you vote Democrat or did you vote Republican?"
Yes, when Donald Trump becomes president in the next 7 months, when you call 119, they're going to answer the phone. They're going to say, hello, hello, hello. It's 119. May I help you? Are you blue or red? Now listen to this.
Republican. That's what Trump wanted to do on a red state by blue state basis. If there was a tornado or a hurricane or a terrorist attack, Trump wanted to withhold aid from blue states to get leverage and give aid to red states to.
Can y'all believe what you're hearing? Trump is going to withhold aid from blue states. May not be a bad idea.
Reward them for fealty. Made decisions on the basis of personal self-interest, but also made decisions very recklessly that put lives in danger. I did not expect, as a lifelong conservative, to go work for a Republican president who didn't want to stand behind law enforcement officers, openly attacked law enforcement officers, openly blasted the free and open press, abrogated free trade agreements, backed away from our allies in NATO. This was a guy who, in my eyes, was not a conservative and, in fact, was behaving in the least conservative way possible. And again, if you think that first term was bad, my message would be, you ain't seen nothing yet.
You sure ain't. You sure ain't. That's artificial intelligence, folks. What I just showed you is what the world is putting up with, or the nation, on a daily basis. Artificial intelligence. And it is everywhere. It is everywhere you turn. It is everywhere you look. Artificial intelligence is filling the airwaves. But if you would allow me, if you would just allow me, your humble, neighborhood friendly, fluffy Professor Toto, if you would allow me to bring you some authentic intelligence, I will be happy to do so. Because everything you just heard, the people hate Trump. The people are tired of Trump. The people, minorities don't trust him. Blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the problem. Atlanta, Georgia is the problem. Because when we get to Atlanta, we find authentic intelligence. And this is what it looks like.
Nice to see everybody. How you doing, Trump? I'm doing good. I love you, man. You look good. I love you. Everybody straight, man. Everybody having a good time. Get ready. Yeah, I'll give you one.
Now, I don't know if you saw that or not. Black folks telling Trump, we love you, man. Young black folks, we love you, man. We love you, man. And there's another video where one of the girls that works there literally runs up to him, hugging him, telling him she's arrived, and she said these words, no matter what the media tells you, Mr. Trump, we love you. That is authentic intelligence. What they're saying on the main screen is not lining up with what they're saying on the main streets. The people love Trump. He is the president of the people. Let me show you some more artificial intelligence. How many of you remember 2 weeks ago when Joe Obama had a fundraiser? And at that fundraiser, he had a circus of former presidents: Obama, Clinton, Hillary, Billary, Hillary, Celery. He had them all. They was all there. They came in mass to support their octagon patient, to help him stand up. They got there and they raised $25 million. And that is all you heard for a solid week on the MSM. That's it. 25 million. Oh my God. He's alive again. He's alive and well. It is the resurrection. That's what they told us. 25 minutes. That's all we heard. I don't know. Night and day, night and day, night and day, night and day, night and day. Let me show you the difference in artificial intelligence and authentic intelligence. Donald Trump has a fundraiser with no former presidents, needing no help from no one. And what does he raise? $50 million and not one word on the media. And you ask us why we do not trust the mainstream media. You're at the point, America, you can no longer get your news from the mainstream media. You must find podcasters that have control over their content, ones that have earned your trust, ones that filter through all of the hullabaloo and bring you the truth. That's where we are. The days of journalism are dead. And you do not have to take my word for it, because we have a whistleblower. We have a whistleblower from NPR, National Public Radio. You know, the radio station that you pay the bills for. That's right. When you write a tax check, when you send it in, some of that money is going to go to NPR. You are paying for that station. That station should be totally fair. It should be totally balanced with no political leaning whatsoever. Millions and millions of Americans get their news from NPR, National Public Radio. Well, they have a veteran broadcaster that has been there 25 years. 25 years. His name is Uri Berliner. U-R-I Berliner, B-E-R-L-I-N-E-R. And Uri came forth as a whistleblower and told the truth to the whole world about NPR. I want you to listen.
NPR is being forced to defend itself and its journalism after a senior business editor at the company, Uri Berliner, published an article blasting the outlet for being biased. His piece in the Free Press is titled, "I've been at NPR for 25 years. Here's how we lost America's trust." He exposes how NPR intentionally chose to cover Trump negatively and cherry-picked which stories they would pursue.
I think after a while we started covering Trump in a way that like a lot of legacy news organizations, that we were trying to damage his presidency, to even find anything we could to harm him. And I think what we latched on to was Russia collusion, like a lot of news organizations, which was, as I write, sort of catnip, although it was just rumors and a lot of it based on pretty shoddy documents. We really latched on to Adam Schiff. He was like our muse to the Trump collusion story. We had him on constantly. And then the Mueller report came out and no collusion. And, I think we sort of learned the story kind of disappeared.
Well, these are all things that we knew if you had your eyes open, but that is very powerful coming from someone who is an editor at NPR. He added that an open-minded spirit no longer exists at the company, calling out the lack of diversity within the voter registration of the journalist.
At one point, I got so frustrated with what I saw was the lack of different perspectives in our coverage that I decided to look at voter registration among our staff. And what I found was 87 registered Democrats on our editorial staff, 0 Republicans. I presented this at a all hands or a large news meeting, and I said, hey, look, something's gone wrong here.
0 Republicans, 0. Think about that. But NPR's editor-in-chief brushed off the allegations, writing in an internal memo, I and my colleagues on the leadership team strong.
This shows you the plague in our news. Uri's been there 25 years at NPR. He went to them and said, guys, we have a problem. We have bought into a lie. And they were supposed to have a meeting with him to discuss it. The meeting was pulled at the last minute, and that's when he became a whistleblower. Why? Because truth may be a long time coming, but when it comes, it doesn't take long. The gumbo pot is cooking, and people are waking up, and this is just one of many instances. He said they refused to cover the laptop story because they said in a private meeting that it would help Trump. And now Donald Trump is demanding no more funding, not one more dollar for NPR. He says when he becomes president, there will be no more funding for NPR. And I'm in full, absolute agreement with him. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are reaching a point in America where it will be exactly as I told you in a few months. It will be so bad that even Democrats will vote for Donald Trump. I want to show you just how bad it is getting, just so you understand. Energy. When Donald Trump was president, the inflation was 0% with energy, 0%. Under Biden, it's 38.8%. Gasoline, negative 2%. Biden, 47%. Electricity, 3%. Joe Biden, 29%. Natural gas, negative 1.9%. Biden, 26%. Groceries were 3.3% inflation. Today, 21%. Eggs, Trump down 3%. Biden up 49%. Milk down, 2.6%, 15% under Biden. Chicken, 3% versus 23%. Transportation, 2% versus 32%. Airfare was down 13%. Today it's up 32%. Public transportation down 8%. Now up 22%. Used cars was at 2.4%. Now it's at 20%. Apparel, 13% is what it is right now. This is what the Trump campaign must begin showing the world, because we are in a moment now where inflation is back on the rise. It is coming back with a vengeance, because you can only hide the problem for so long. That's all. Before the lid blows off.
Expected 3.5. This is 3/10. tenths hotter than we looked at in the rearview mirror, 3.2.
Regardless of what the Fed does, we're going to end up with sticky inflation for longer.
Adam, the core number is up 3.8%. That is a big number.
Yeah, year over year, there's no question. That's a tenth higher than we thought. 3.8%, that's a little ugly. I will admit that.
This just in, inflation is headed in the wrong direction right now. The latest consumer price report just out shows prices up 3.5%. This over same time last year.
Pretty well there. This is moving in the wrong direction. So 3.5% on an annual basis. To put that in context, that is hotter than what we were expecting.
Inflation's at 3.2%. It's higher than it was in January. Are there any concerns that the disinflation we saw last year is starting to stall out?
So look, I'm going to say that this is a president that is doing everything that we can to fight inflation, right? To build an economy from the bottom up, middle out. And we've been pretty consistent about that. And over what we have seen over the past several months is that inflation is down 2/3 and core inflation is at the lowest since May of 2021.
Inflation. Now, let me tell you what's going on right now. Yes, your gas prices are going up. I want to explain why. Many people do not know what I'm about to teach you real quick. Joe Biden, since he has taken office, has sold 275 million barrels from the United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Why has he done that? Why has he sold 274 million barrels? So that you would think gas prices are down. The whole time he's been in office, he has sold 274 million barrels of our strategic reserve. I want you to think about that. He has done that to pull the wool over your eyes. He has drained 57% of our emergency reserve supply. But he's not finished, because he sold all of that with the intentions of refilling it when the prices went down. They originally said as soon as oil reached $79 a barrel, they were going to refill all they had stolen from the American people, all they had sold from our emergency reserve. They were waiting for it to get to $79 a barrel, and then they would fill it back up. But the problem is the prices are not going below $86 a barrel, and it caused the White House to cancel all of their petroleum purchases because the prices are not going down. At this moment, we have a 17-day supply if all you know what breaks loose in this nation. We have a 17-day supply to supply America, thanks to Joe Biden. And then he canceled the refill order to fill it all back up. You see, in the 1970s, the government established a reserve to hold 727 million barrels of oil. It was, in times like Desert Storm, Hurricane Katrina, and the Libyan Civil War, we depended on that strategic reserve. Since Biden took office, it has fallen from 638 million barrels that Donald Trump had in there to 364 million, and it keeps dropping every day. Why? Because they want you to think the economy is good, but it's getting so bad now that they can't stop the prices at the gas tank from going up. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, the vast majority of Americans are not looking at the stock market. They don't even have money in stocks. There is one number, or two rather, that they notice. Gas pump, eggs. And in those two places, you're about to see the truth. See, the Democrats, they want the gasoline prices to drop, but they're running into a problem because they refuse to increase oil production because of their green energy baloney. So now they're draining precious reserves the nation will need if we ever experience another embargo. So they're biting off their hand to spite their face. And now, if that's not bad enough, and it should be bad enough, but now Joe Biden is involved in a scam on the American public because, first of all, he's facing Jimmy Carter approval numbers, and so he thinks he's going to buy public approval. On April the 8th, a few days ago, 3 days ago, he unveils this new plan that would help 30 million potential voters to erase, just like that, their student debt. This plan comes less than 1 year after the Supreme Court blocked his last attempt to try this. But Supreme Court be darned, he doesn't care. It's going to cost the taxpayers $300 billion. His decision to forgive student loan debt is a slap in the face of every blue-collar worker in America. That's right. Those that were not able to go to college, those that did not get the delicacy of a student loan being paid for by their government. Unlike pink-haired gurus up there on Wall Street, blue-collar workers, men and women, spent years working hard in factories. And now Biden is going to force them, those people, to pay for someone else's useless degree. We got 162 million taxpayers in America. Each one of them would owe $2,000 so that 30 million students could have $10,000 of debt forgiven. Now, there's another way to pay the bill for the students: print more money. But then that would take money away from taxpayers in a way that they would notice. And they don't like that. It's a scam. It is a scheme. It's great for those that have student loan debt, but it's a horrible deal for those who have paid off their loans or never took out a student loan. Biden is deliberately taking this money from blue-collar workers, giving it to college graduates, because the most college graduates are what? Democrats, liberals, in hopes of getting them to vote for him. When I come back in 30 seconds, I want to talk to you about what I think is one of the most important subjects that all patriots must be educated on. I'm going to be discussing the Constitution and the subject of abortion. And I'll be right back. Please share, get someone here to hear this monologue tonight. You are going to leave here tonight educated.
When you spend your money at these mega corporations, where it's going, are you aware that your hard-earned money is being used to support political corruption, which leads to poor federal leadership, hurting our economy, contributing to the overall detriment of our society? This is heavy stuff to think about, I know, but it's time we fought back. Introducing Professor Toto's The Patriots Buying Club. Here, we are a club that gives you the power to invest in companies that uphold patriotic and conservative values your family can respect. Rather than spending your money with these major corporations, we've partnered with a direct consumer company that offers over 400 high-quality, sustainable, and effective products that can be delivered fast directly to your front door. So many patriots across America has joined us in this walkaway movement. Now it's your turn. Go to www.buybywalmart.com to join Professor Toto's The Patriots Buying Club today.
I told you so. Oh, I told you so. About 6 months ago, I told you to chill out over the abortion issue and what Donald Trump was saying about abortion. Now, I must dissect this subject tonight. The title of tonight's monologue is Trump is morally wrong about abortion, but he is constitutionally correct. Now, why am I discussing this tonight? Because I believe of all subjects more important than Ukraine or the omnibus bill. I've had people email me, why are you talking about abortion when all this is going on? Because at the conservative college, I deal with I try to deal with things that are foundational and they must be understood. I told you 6 months ago when Donald Trump stood there and said what he said about abortion, I said, please understand, he has no choice in the matter. Because I told you, if you'll remember, when it gets to the general election, Donald Trump must win the war, not the battle, but the war of the White House, getting back in the White House. And I told you then, if he does not take a more moderate stand on abortion, he will never win any independence and he will lose to Joe Biden. Now, why am I singing I told you so? Because one of the headlines that I read today is this: Democrats don't want you to know how moderate Trump's abortion stand is. In other words, Trump has trumped them from making an issue out of abortion. All right? In other words, all of a sudden, he's a moderate. And now, no reason to scare voters against voting for him over abortion. I want to explain to you tonight how that I am a pro-lifer just like the rest of you, and so is Donald Trump. He appointed 3 pro-life judges, not to mention all the federal judges across the nation. All right? However, when a president gets into the general election, sometimes they must moderate themselves and you must allow them to do so. As a compromise, it is well within the norm of American government for this to happen. In the primaries, they can say things that they cannot say in the general. We do not live in an ideal world. We live in a real world. Donald Trump understands that. And now, my beloved friends, you must understand that. You must not misunderstand how our Constitution works. All right? It's very, very important. Let me ask you a question. Does our federal government, if I go out right now and take an innocent life, now think, put your thinking cap on. I go out right now and destroy an innocent life. I murder them. Does the federal government get involved in that murder? Unless, of course, it's on federal property or what have you. But typically, if I go take innocent life, who handles the prosecution or the lack thereof of taking innocent life? Is it the federal government or the state government? Anyone? It's the state government. You cannot say that you love the republic and then want our federal government to get involved in prosecuting crime that's committed on the state level. You need to understand that before Donald Trump became president, our federal government did just that. Our federal government took powers they did not have in Roe v. Wade. And they literally passed laws on innocent life, that innocent life could be murdered with no consequences. Before that, there were many states in our union that said, no, it's a crime to take innocent life and you will be prosecuted. Donald Trump is the only man since Roe v. Wade that has had it overturned to where our federal government is no longer involved in the prosecution or the lack thereof of the taking of innocent life. And the truth is, my friend, whether the innocent life is in the womb or whether the innocent life is your next door neighbor, innocent life is innocent life. So if you do not want the federal government prosecuting murders in your town, why do you want the federal government doing it for abortion? Okay? Now, Donald Trump is so political suave in this area that he literally takes credit for overturning Roe v. Wade on the one hand, and on the other hand rejects any federal restriction on abortion and lets states decide the question. And now what does that allow Trump to do? Listen, now what does that allow Trump to do? Flip the script. Stay with me, please, and listen. It allows him now to flip the script on the extremism of the Democrat agenda to allow abortion for anyone at any time. All of a sudden, Trump's brilliance has taken the fire away from the Democrats because now they cannot work their followers up. Because Trump is saying now, no federal ban on abortion. Really? Uh-oh. That's how we were going to defeat him at the polls. We were going to play clips of him being tricked into saying he wants to put a ban on abortion, but now he's saying no federal ban? Wow. What do we do now? I'll tell you what we do. Now we run the commercials. Is anybody with me tonight? Now we run the commercials showing full-term babies being killed under the Biden administration. Now we own the argument. Ladies and gentlemen, you have got to quit second-guessing Donald Trump. You've got, does anybody, I'm looking at the comments to see if anybody sees the brilliance of what Trump has done. If anybody sees the brilliance of what Trump has done. We have got to stop being narrow-minded. You never win a war with a narrow mind. I hate abortion. I hate abortion, and Trump is morally wrong. But thank God he's not running for pastor of the church. He is running for a political position to govern an entire nation. So therefore, I am not electing a man for moral correctness if he is violating the Constitution. And in fact, a federal ban on abortion would violate the Constitution. His role and his goal is to defend the Constitution. For example, the word abortion, can you find it in the Constitution? Go look at it. I've got several of them. Will you find abortion anywhere in the Constitution? The word is nowhere in the document. So what does the left do? They start doing some fancy side dancing and concoct some esoteric legal hocus pocus to come up with a justification for what they want to do anyway. Because the left couldn't care less about the Constitution. They only care about their right to practice a depraved lifestyle without any consequences. The Supreme Court last year in the Dobbs case made the constitutionally valid decision that the 10th Amendment clearly states the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. That's the Constitution. That's the Constitution. A federal ban on abortion, in theory, sounds wonderful. Our religious tendencies would love it, but it would violate, and it did violate the Constitution. That is why the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The federal government has no business in prosecuting crimes against innocent life. That is left up to the individual states. It's a foundational idea of this country that the states created the federal government, not the other way around. We are a republic of 50 sovereign nations. Those nations were willing to give up a little bit of their power for certain things. All right? Abraham Lincoln, whenever he was president, he said that the 13 states at that time sacrificed to the national government certain powers which they believed the federal government could perform better than the individual states. The federal government was given certain powers, and that's it. Everything else remains in the control of the state, including prosecuting crimes or not prosecuting crimes. Let me give you an example. Those 13 states was willing to give up their power to oversee the post office. They thought it would be better to have one post office instead of 13 operating separately. Then a monetary system for the whole union, rather than 13 different currencies. Another was giving Congress the power to declare war, because after all, they didn't want Rhode Island to declare war and then drag all the 13 states into it. So they took the power to declare war away from the states and gave it to the Congress. There are about 17 such powers given by the states to the Congress in the original Constitution. And aborting unborn babies was not among those powers. Let's read Article 1, Section 8. It says that presidential powers, let me break it down instead of reading it. Presidential powers are so few in making laws. The only power the presidency has is the veto power. That's it. Okay? And the right of abortion, which the founders never thought about. Why didn't the founders think about abortion? Because they could never imagine a civilized man or woman wanting to kill their unborn child. That was so foreign in the minds of humanity. There was no worldview of killing innocent babies. So therefore, it was not placed in the Constitution. So if it's not in the Constitution to the federal government, then the states is where it has to go. Why? Because the state government is closer to the people that they serve. And therefore, the people have more control over their state government than they do their national government. Most of you know your local government better than you do your federal government. The closer the government is to the people, the more control the people have over their government. And that is exactly why the founding fathers delegated very few minor powers to the federal government. And all other powers remains in the what? Wake up, everybody. It remains in the what? The states. That's your republic. You cannot like a republic one day and not like it the next. We are a federal republic, constitutional republic, federalism. All of these words demands that these decisions be left with the states. That's exactly why the Democratic Party is doing everything it can to destroy the Constitution, because they want to centralize more power in the hands of Washington, D.C. than to the states or the people. Because if we have the power, they don't have the power. And that is what Joe Biden loves. Biden said in 2006, abortion was not a right. Did you know that? In 2006, Biden said that abortion is not a right. He said in 2006, it was a tragedy and it should be rare and limited. But you see, times change. The godless left did not totally control the Democratic Party back then or Joe Obama's mouth back then. But you see, the deep state in Washington, by and large and incrementally, succeeded during American history in centralizing more and more power into their hands. That's why they were screaming when Roe v. Wade was overturned, because in their hands had been given the power to kill the unborn and give a right to do it. That right is now gone. That right is back. Even though we don't like it, it's right where it's supposed to be. You ought to read your Constitution sometime. You ought to read it. You won't find almost 100% of what Congress does today anywhere in that document, such as federal loans for student education. That's nowhere in our Constitution. Our current government, where so much of the power is now centralized in the national government, is exactly what all of our forefathers rebelled against 250 years ago. Our government pays no more attention to our Constitution than the former Soviet Union did to theirs. But regardless of what Donald Trump said about abortion being something that should be controlled by the state and people, he's exactly correct constitutionally. Morally, it's wrong. Constitutionally, it's correct. He is going to defend the Constitution. And you, the Patriots, must let him do it. If you want to rid abortion, do it in your state. Fight like you know what in your state, where you have more control in your state. But do you understand that because of Trump, there is no longer a right nationally to take innocent life? Is that not a reason for us to rejoice? Is that not a reason for us to be thankful and allow this man the latitude to say what he needs to say to get into office without it being a trigger for us? I think so. In the Dobbs case, the Supreme Court got it right when they repealed Roe v. Wade. And President Trump is just following their lead. Now, you've got people like Lindsey Graham and others who want federal involvement in abortions, but they want it unconstitutionally. But our members of Congress, they're not like you. They don't know the Constitution. They don't read it. They don't know what it means because they don't go to the conservative college. Constitutionally, Mr. Trump is right. Now, the morality of abortion, that's another question. And I'm not going into that tonight because, brothers and sisters, we live in an immoral environment created and led by the godless liberal left. Sometimes you need to take a step back. Abortion in the hands of the states is not perfect, but it's better than allowing a deep state controlled federal government to direct abortion policy. Can you not agree with that? The deep state is not nearly as entrenched in your state as it is your national government. If you put morality aside for a moment, what Trump has said is what our Constitution authorizes. He is exactly right on this, and we must support our president on this abortion issue. He has flipped the script on them. They don't know what to do. You know, our Constitution does not give the federal government the authority to prosecute murder, the taking of innocent life, or laws against theft or rape or extortion. All of those powers are reserved to the state and the people. If the states want to give the federal government, if they want to give that power away to prosecute crime, if they want to do that, that's what the amendment process is all about. They can do that. See, that's where they got it right, overturning Roe v. Wade. If you want a federal law on abortion, then the states must give up that power. It must not be taken from them. They could start the amendment process. The states can give the federal government more power, just like they did with the abolition of slavery, the 13th Amendment. But that was an amendment process. If you want abortion in this nation, start an amendment process. If you don't want abortion, start an amendment process from all the states. That's the only way a federal ban on abortion would be constitutional. The Constitution does not give the federal government the right to legislate on moral issues. And I don't want the feds to have that power. Look what they did with same-sex marriage. When we gave away that power from the individual states, then the deep state got a hold of it. And look what they've done across the nation with same-sex marriage. You need to thank God, listen to me, patriots, for Donald Trump understanding that you don't even realize what he's doing, do you? He's trying to get this out of the hands of the deep state and put it back to the people's states so that we can raise a ruckus in our states where we're actually heard. What do you think the Democrats, the deep state, would do if they had the power over transgenderism and child mutilation? What would they do with that? Well, they would pass a right, wouldn't they, to be able to mutilate yourself. But the states are different because the states have to hear the people. Right now, in the America that we live in, I believe the best we are going to get, and it's far from perfect, is the state regulation of abortion. And do you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? In many states in our union, for the first time in decades, babies will be protected. Please see the truth and quit falling for the emotions of the moment. Do you realize for the first time in America, it is now a crime to kill innocent life in America? It was not that way. Sometimes you cannot have your cake and eat it too. I wish you could. But I believe that everyone talking about a 15-week federal abortion ban, that all sounds good, but it's unconstitutional. We either believe in the Constitution or we don't. And I believe this is the best we're going to get. Do you trust the feds to do it? They want their law to be the law for everybody. It would not only be horribly immoral, it would also be unconstitutional. So what's the bottom line? Here's the bottom line, and I'm closing. John Adams said, I've repeated it to you so many times, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other people. And sadly, in America, we don't have the kind of people in America anymore that can make a change. And that is our greatest problem. That is why Donald Trump has taken the stand that he has taken on abortion. He understands he must return that power to the people rather than the deep state. So this week, when you're talking to your friends and they're coming at you, I can't support Trump because he's for abortion. Would you correct them now that you're educated, now that you have gotten your money's worth for attending another class at the conservative college? I'm so glad you listened tonight. I hope you left here educated, inspired, motivated, and concentrating on the election that is just ahead of us. We are going to win bigly. Thank you for watching, my fellow patriots. I'll see you all Thursday night. Good night, everybody.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today.
'Cause this flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
Defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this man.
God bless the USA.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea,
from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA,
where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I gladly stand